I wasn't really interested in watching The Electric State, but then I realised Woody Harrelson voices a character in it. He voices a character called Mr. Peanut. So I decided to give it a watch, and I guess it's okay. I didn't really enjoy it. It's quite creative. I guess the story's okay, but it definitely wasn't one that I particularly cared for. This was released this year, 2025. It's directed by Anthony Russo and Joe Russo, written by Christopher Marquez and Stephen McFeely. And we have a cast including Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, obviously Woody Harrelson, Stanley Tucci. The performances are very good. I will say the narrative doesn't really appeal to me, so part of it is down to personal preference, but I still just found it to be very slow, and it's very long. It's about 2 hours, and it really, really didn't need to be. It's set in the 90s, which is quite interesting. It's set in an alternate 1990s, which is not what I expected. And it's about a girl called Michelle who has lost her family, but a robot tells her that her brother might be out there controlling him. And with this robot, Michelle goes to try and find her brother. And there's a bit more substance to the narrative than that, but that's generally the basic concept. And I don't hate the concept, but it's definitely not to my taste. So that's certainly something I'm willing to admit as being personal preference, but I still just found it to be very slow. And in general, the narrative just wasn't that interesting. Not a lot happened in terms of fascinating parts of the story. So I didn't love the narrative, but it works well enough. It's believable within the context of the story. The characters' actions and motivations are believable, but I didn't necessarily care for what they were doing. The characters are fine. I didn't dislike anybody, but I also didn't find them to be that interesting. Michelle, Millie Bobby Brown's character, I guess is okay as a protagonist. Mr. Peanut, not too bad. And Herman, voiced by Anthony Mackie, was a perfectly likeable character as well. So in general, I'd say it's a pretty average film. And average is fine. Not every film is going to be spectacular. But for me, I didn't really enjoy it, partly down to personal preference, but then coupled with the fact that I just thought the narrative was a little slow and not that interesting. It just meant there were too many aspects, and the characters being pretty average as well just meant that there were too many things that I just couldn't really thoroughly enjoy it. I don't regret having spent the time watching it because of Woody Harrelson, but I also feel like I wouldn't have been missing out on very much had I decided to not watch it. Do I recommend it? I'd say it's watchable. Whether you want to sit down and watch it or you want it on as background company, I'd say it's probably more suited to having on in the background, but I think you probably could sit down and watch it without being too bored. But at the same time, it's not the most exciting experience either. Some people might prefer it more than I did. For information, on IMDb, it currently has 5.9 out of 10 across 66,000 reviews and ratings, which is not the highest, but by no means is it the lowest. And I think I agree with that as well, with that rating. So in general, didn't love it, but it's not terrible. Visually, it's quite an impressive film. Well, the lighting isn't. I found a lot of it was more dimly lit than it needed to be, but we do have some scenes with some great lighting as well, so it comes and goes. In general, it's not an amazing film, but The Electric State is a watchable film, and if it sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I'd say it might be worth watching.